There are people watching you right now, waiting, not to see you succeed, but to see you fail. They smile in your face, but secretly hope you fall. They pretend to support you, yet inside they doubt you, envy you, and wish to see you broken. But what they don't know is that their doubts, their betrayal, their rejection are all part of Allah's plan to raise you higher than they ever imagined. You see, when people walk away, when doors close, when they turn against you, it's not a sign of your failure. It's a sign that Allah is shifting you toward something greater. Their jealousy isn't a setback. It's proof that you're on a path they never expected you to walk. Their betrayal isn't your downfall. It's Allah clearing the way for something beyond their reach. They may have plotted against you, doubted you, or tried to hold you back. But the moment Allah decides to elevate you, no force on this earth can stop it. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll realize that everything they did to break you was actually what Allah used to build you. Lesson 1. Your kindness triggered their jealousy. Sometimes you've tried your best to be kind, helpful, and supportive to people around you. You did favors without expecting thanks. You smiled, encouraged others, and gave freely from your heart. But instead of appreciation, you felt unexpected coldness, strange silence, subtle envy, or even resentment. You thought to yourself, why does my kindness make others uncomfortable? Why does my good heart seem to invite their jealousy? Think about it. Kindness and sincerity often shine a bright light that exposes hidden insecurities in others. Your honesty and genuine spirit unintentionally remind them of what they lack inside themselves. This isn't your fault, nor does it mean you should change who you are. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself experienced this. His pure heart and truthful character triggered jealousy even among his own people. Even Habil, the son of Prophet Adam, alayhi salam, faced envy from his own brother, Qabil, not because he did wrong, but precisely because he was good, sincere, and beloved by Allah. Remember, jealousy directed toward you doesn't define who you are, it defines who they are. Your sincerity, your good character, and your pure intentions are noticed by Allah. He sees clearly what others misunderstand. Even if people secretly wish to see you fail because they can't stand your goodness, Allah promises to lift you higher and honor you because of that same goodness. So never regret your kindness, never feel ashamed for having a clean heart. Keep giving, keep forgiving, and keep doing good even when you feel misunderstood. Because every moment of kindness, every good deed they envied, Allah is carefully turning into your legacy, a legacy that will outlive envy, silence critics, and elevate you beyond their jealousy. Lesson 2. You outgrew their expectations. You might have experienced this. People around you were comfortable with who you used to be, someone they could predict, control, or easily manage. Maybe they thought you'd always stay the same, stuck in old habits, small dreams, and limited ambitions. But the day you started changing, improving yourself, praying more regularly, chasing bigger dreams, and working harder on your goals, they suddenly felt uncomfortable. At first you were confused. Shouldn't they be happy for me? I'm finally improving, getting closer to Allah, becoming better in every way. But instead of encouragement, you noticed their smiles fade, their support vanish, and some even began quietly wishing you would fail just to prove themselves right. But let's understand something deeply powerful. Your growth wasn't meant to meet their small expectations. It was meant to meet Allah's great plans for you. When Allah wants you to grow, He makes the old version of you feel uncomfortable. He puts dreams in your heart bigger than anyone else imagines for you. This discomfort, this tension between who you were and who you're becoming, is a sign of Allah's love and favor. Think about Prophet Musa, alayhi salam. When he was young, Pharaoh and his people had low expectations for him. They saw him as just another boy, nothing special, certainly no threat. But Musa outgrew their small view. He became wiser, stronger, and closer to Allah until he was strong enough to stand confidently against Pharaoh himself. The moment Musa outgrew Pharaoh's expectations, Pharaoh felt threatened and became Musa's enemy. But Allah had already decided Musa's path, one of honor, victory, and purpose beyond imagination. Your journey is similar. The people who doubt you, underestimate you, or secretly wish for your downfall don't control your future. Allah does. They're uncomfortable because your growth reminds them of their own lack of progress. Instead of stopping, use their negativity as fuel to keep going higher, closer to Allah, and closer to your true purpose. Remember this clearly: Allah is preparing you for greatness. Your job isn't to slow down to make others comfortable. Your job is to keep growing, keep moving, and keep trusting Allah's plan for you, because soon enough, the very people who doubted your growth will witness how Allah elevates you beyond anything they could have imagined. Lesson 3. They ignored you, but Allah chose you. Maybe you've felt this way before, overlooked, invisible, like no matter how hard you try, people just don't notice your value or acknowledge your efforts. You might be quietly working hard, giving your best, or making sincere du'as behind closed doors. Yet, somehow, people around you seem to ignore your potential and underestimate your worth. You wonder deep down, am I really that unimportant to them? Think about those moments when you spoke, but nobody listened, when you tried but no one appreciated, or when you gave your heart but felt ignored. Those experiences hurt deeply. It makes you question yourself, your abilities, your value, even your purpose. It feels lonely, and sometimes you wonder if anyone truly sees who you are. But let me remind you of something truly beautiful. While everyone around you might overlook you, Allah sees you clearly. In fact, Allah often chooses the people whom the world has ignored. He selects the quiet ones, the sincere ones, the humble ones whom others never notice, and raises them in ways nobody expects. Think about Prophet Dawood, alayhi salam. As a young shepherd boy, he was considered weak and insignificant even by his own family. When Prophet Samuel came to select the next leader, Dawood was overlooked entirely, left outside, tending sheep. But Allah saw Dawood clearly, saw his pure heart, heard his quiet prayers, and chose him above everyone else who appeared stronger or more worthy. Dawood, alayhi salam, went from being ignored to becoming a mighty king and prophet, honored and beloved by Allah. This is exactly how Allah works. He purposely selects those whom people ignore, underestimate, or dismiss. Why? Because it's through them that He shows the world His power, mercy, and justice. Allah chooses those humble souls who quietly remain patient, who never lose hope in His mercy, and who keep going even when nobody notices. If you're feeling ignored or overlooked today, know this deeply. Your silence and patience aren't unnoticed by Allah. Every quiet struggle you've faced, every moment you've kept going despite feeling invisible, has been witnessed clearly by Allah. He is preparing you quietly behind the scenes for something far greater than the recognition of people, something permanent and more meaningful. So don't be saddened by the ignorance of others. Stay patient, remain sincere, and keep doing what is right, even when no one acknowledges it. Because soon, Allah Himself will honor you. He'll lift you up at a time when everyone else least expects it, turning the moments you felt invisible into your greatest strength. When Allah chooses to elevate you, no one can ignore you any longer. Lesson 4. Allah removed them to protect you. Maybe you've been through times in your life when someone you deeply trusted suddenly left. Maybe it was a close friend, someone you considered family, or a relationship you sincerely cared about. When that person walked away, or circumstances forced you apart, it felt unbearable, like your heart was broken into pieces, leaving you confused, hurt, and wondering why Allah allowed it to happen. In those painful moments, you probably asked yourself repeatedly, why me? Why did Allah take away someone I truly cared for? Why did He allow this to hurt so deeply? It felt like a punishment, like you did something wrong, or that somehow you weren't worthy enough for them to stay. You might have spent nights questioning, blaming yourself, or desperately praying for things to go back to the way they were. But have you ever considered that Allah removed that person from your life precisely to protect you from harm you couldn't see? That maybe what seemed like the greatest loss of your life was actually Allah stepping in to save you from pain, betrayal, or suffering that would have come if they had stayed. Allah sees what your heart cannot see. He knows secrets hidden deep in people's hearts, intentions, and futures you have no idea about. Think for a moment about Prophet Nuh, alayhi salam. He spent years trying to guide his people, including his own family, toward Allah. Yet eventually Allah Himself separated Nuh from even some of his closest loved ones. It was incredibly painful. Nuh watched helplessly as people he cared deeply about drifted away from him. But why? Allah knew exactly what Nuh didn't, that these people's hearts were corrupted and their presence would have harmed him deeply. Allah, in His infinite mercy, removed them from his life, not as punishment, but as protection. The reality is that Allah often removes certain people from your life because He has heard conversations you couldn't hear. He has witnessed intentions you couldn't imagine. Allah loves you too much to allow someone who secretly intends harm, betrayal, or negativity toward you to remain by your side. Sometimes Allah takes someone away because their presence would hold you back from achieving the great purpose He has prepared for you. Trusting Allah's plan means believing deeply in His wisdom, even when your heart hurts, even when it feels like losing that person is unbearable. Understand clearly that Allah's decision to remove someone from your life is His gentle way of shielding you from pain that would have destroyed you if He had left you exposed. In the moment, it feels painful, confusing, and even unfair, but soon you'll realize that Allah took that person away so that He could give you something far better, someone who truly values your heart, your dignity, and your faith. So, if you've lost someone important, someone who meant the world to you, trust deeply that this separation wasn't random. Allah intentionally chose to protect you, honor you, and prepare you for something greater. He removed them not because you didn't deserve love, but because you deserve better love, healthier companionship, and lasting peace. Remember clearly, Allah never removes anything from your life without replacing it with something far more beautiful. The day will soon come when you look back and realize that the greatest heartbreak of your life was actually Allah's greatest protection, His way of gently guiding you to true peace and happiness. Lesson 5. Their doubts fueled your greatest breakthrough. Maybe you've experienced moments in life when people close to you openly doubted your abilities or secretly believed you'd never achieve your dreams. Perhaps they laughed quietly when you shared your ambitions or brushed aside your efforts, labeling them as unrealistic or impossible. Those doubts might have come from family, friends, or even people you deeply admired. Each doubtful comment felt like a sharp knife cutting through your confidence, making you question if you truly had what it takes. In those painful moments, you probably felt deeply discouraged, thinking to yourself, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough to succeed. Their negative opinions echoed in your head, planting seeds of self-doubt and fear. Perhaps their skepticism made you hesitate to pursue your dreams or caused you to hide your true potential, afraid of disappointing those who expected you to fail. But let me share something powerful. Sometimes, Allah intentionally places people around you who doubt you, not to break you, but to ignite within you a strength you didn't even realize existed. Their doubts aren't a sign of your weakness. They're a test designed specifically to push you beyond your limits. Allah uses their skepticism to fuel your motivation, determination, and courage. He places you in situations where no one believes in you, precisely because He wants you to rely solely upon Him and to prove them wrong. Think deeply about Prophet Zakaria, alayhi salam. When he asked Allah for a child, people doubted his request because he was elderly and his wife was unable to conceive. On the surface, it seemed impossible. People whispered doubts, silently believing that such a miracle would never happen. Yet Zakaria, alayhi salam, used their doubts as fuel, turning even more sincerely toward Allah, making powerful du'as and deepening his trust. Allah responded beautifully, blessing him with a righteous son, Yahya, alayhi salam, a miracle against all odds. Your story is similar. Allah placed doubters around you not as punishment, but as motivation to push you to rely fully on Him. Every doubtful comment, every skeptical look, every time they said you can't, Allah was whispering, "Trust me, you can and you will." He allowed others to underestimate you so that your victory would be sweeter and more powerful, proving to the world that Allah's support alone is enough to accomplish the impossible. So remember clearly, the doubts of others don't define your limits. They reveal your hidden strength. Use their disbelief as a reason to work harder, pray deeper, and trust more intensely. Each time they say you can't, let it drive you closer to Allah, and let it push you forward toward achieving greatness. Soon, the same people who doubted you will see Allah elevate you far beyond their expectations. Their doubts, skepticism, and disbelief will become chapters in your story of triumph, a story where Allah Himself became your greatest supporter. Keep going, because Allah is already preparing your breakthrough, using their doubts as the very fuel you need to rise higher than they ever imagined possible. Lesson 6. Allah elevated you when they left you alone. Perhaps you've faced moments in life when you looked around and suddenly everyone you depended on disappeared. Those who promised they'd always stand by you, friends, family, loved ones, suddenly left you alone at the very moment you needed them most. You felt abandoned, isolated, and confused, wondering, why did they leave me? Did I do something wrong? Am I really meant to face this hardship alone? In those painful times of isolation, your heart felt heavy, your nights became sleepless, and loneliness consumed your thoughts. You may have asked Allah repeatedly, "Ya Allah, why is everyone leaving me at this critical moment? Am I not worthy of their support?" The loneliness seemed unbearable, and perhaps you even began doubting yourself, wondering if your struggles would ever end. But have you considered something powerful and life-changing? Sometimes Allah intentionally allows everyone around you to leave, not because He's punishing you, but because He's preparing you for something incredible. Allah isolates you temporarily so He can elevate you permanently. In those lonely moments, when everyone else walks away, Allah stays closer to you than ever before. He wants you completely to Himself, without distraction, so He can build you stronger, wiser, and more courageous than you ever imagined. Think deeply about Prophet Yunus, alayhi salam. When he found himself completely alone in the dark belly of a whale, he faced the ultimate loneliness. No one to help him, no one to hear him, and seemingly no way out. At that moment of complete isolation, Yunus, alayhi salam, called out to Allah sincerely from his heart, saying, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minad dhalimin. There is no deity except you. Glory to you. Indeed, I have been among the wrongdoers. In that profound loneliness, he found closeness with Allah unlike ever before. Allah immediately elevated him, rescuing him, honoring him, and making him an example of true reliance upon God. Your loneliness is no different. When Allah allows people to leave you alone, He's giving you the space to strengthen your connection with Him. He's teaching you to depend on Him alone, because when everyone else walks away, Allah remains faithfully by your side. He uses isolation to transform your heart, build your faith, and shape your character in powerful ways that could never happen if you remained surrounded by others. Understand deeply that this loneliness is temporary, but the elevation it brings is permanent. Allah never leaves anyone who sincerely trusts in Him without eventually lifting them to heights they never imagined. In your solitude, He's giving you clarity, peace, strength, and confidence. Qualities you'll soon need when Allah elevates you publicly, showing everyone who once abandoned you how beautifully He has built you in secret. So, if you're feeling isolated or abandoned today, know clearly this loneliness is Allah's loving way of preparing you for greatness. Soon you'll see how Allah turns your private struggle into public honor, how He transforms your silent tears into visible success, and how He elevates you precisely because you learn to rely solely on Him. One day, very soon, you'll look back at this lonely chapter of your life and say, "This was when Allah elevated me. When everyone else left me, Allah Himself chose to stay and raise me higher." Lesson 7. Their betrayal was Allah's greatest gift to you. Maybe you've experienced a betrayal so deep it shook your entire life. Perhaps it came from someone you trusted completely, a friend, a loved one, someone you believed would always stand by your side. When they betrayed you, the pain felt unbearable, almost impossible to accept. You felt your trust shattered, your heart broken, and your hopes crushed. You might have asked yourself again and again, why did Allah allow this to happen to me? Why did He let someone I trusted so deeply hurt me in this way? In those painful moments of betrayal, you probably struggled to understand the purpose behind such a deep wound. The person who betrayed you might have left you doubting yourself, questioning your own worth, and feeling deeply hurt by their dishonesty. Maybe you spent countless sleepless nights replaying their actions, trying to find meaning behind your pain, wondering if you'd ever recover from it. But let me reveal something incredibly powerful. Sometimes Allah allows betrayal to happen, not to hurt you, but because He's giving you an invaluable gift, one you couldn't receive any other way. In His wisdom, Allah knows that betrayal is sometimes the only way you'll clearly see the truth about someone, the truth about your own strength, and the truth about His own plan for your life. Think deeply about the story of Prophet Yusuf, alayhis salam. He was betrayed horribly by his own brothers, thrown mercilessly into a deep well, and sold into slavery, left completely alone by the very people who should have protected and loved him. Imagine the pain Yusuf felt, abandoned, confused, and deeply hurt. At that moment, betrayal seemed devastating, unfair, and cruel. But what Yusuf couldn't yet see was that his brother's betrayal was actually Allah's hidden gift, the first step toward a powerful destiny. Without that betrayal, Yusuf would never have risen to become one of Egypt's most respected leaders, eventually saving countless lives and even forgiving those who betrayed him. Your betrayal is similar. Allah allowed someone to hurt you because He knew this betrayal would awaken within you a strength you never knew existed. He used betrayal to move you away from harmful people or situations you couldn't escape on your own. He permitted pain temporarily to save you permanently from greater suffering, disappointment, or harm. Allah also wanted you to recognize clearly who truly deserves your trust, love, and loyalty. He taught you through this betrayal how to depend solely on Him, because people might betray you, but Allah never will. Allah used betrayal to reveal His love and care for you in ways you couldn't see before. Soon you'll realize this deeply. The betrayal you experienced was actually Allah protecting your heart and preparing you for something much greater. The same betrayal that once crushed you will become the turning point where you began to grow stronger, wiser, and closer to Allah. This very betrayal will become a powerful reminder that Allah's plan is always better than your own, and that He uses even the worst pain to create your greatest triumph. One day, you will clearly see how Allah turned this betrayal into your greatest blessing. The person who betrayed you unknowingly gave you a priceless gift. They pushed you toward your destiny, helped you realize your true worth, and taught you the powerful lesson that Allah alone is sufficient as your protector and friend. Remember clearly, their betrayal did not break you, it built you. Allah allowed this pain temporarily so you could find everlasting strength, peace, and honor. Trust deeply that the betrayal you experienced was truly Allah's hidden blessing, a gift carefully wrapped in pain, now unfolding beautifully into your greatest success. Maybe right now you're facing struggles nobody else can see. Perhaps your heart feels heavy, burdened by doubts, loneliness, betrayals, or the silent envy of those around you. You might be exhausted, wondering if relief will ever come, if your story will ever change, if your pain has any purpose at all. But listen carefully and remember this deeply in your heart. Allah sees your struggles clearly, knows your silent battles, and understands every hidden tear. Every test you're facing today, every wound, every betrayal, every moment of loneliness or rejection, Allah is carefully transforming into the stepping stones toward your greatest success. They might have wished to see you broken, defeated, and forgotten, but Allah's plan is greater. He promises to honor you precisely because others tried to bring you down. Your patience in pain, your sincerity in loneliness, your courage in betrayal, and your determination in doubt have all been witnessed by the one who controls the universe. So hold on tightly, your breakthrough is near. The very people who doubted you, abandoned you, ignored you, and betrayed you will soon witness how Allah Himself lifts you higher than their eyes can see, beyond their doubts, above their expectations. Allah will honor you publicly because you trusted Him privately. Keep your heart firm and your faith stronger than ever, because Allah never disappoints the heart that relies upon Him. Remember always, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. Quran 65:3